Well, good afternoon, El Paso. How are we doing? Good, good. Thank you so much for showing up. This is incredible to be here today. So before we begin, I want to thank Ricardo Mora, and I want to thank the El Paso Chamber, Claudia, and this entire team for putting on this amazing event. So would you please join me in giving them a round of applause? So good afternoon, City Council, community leaders, business partners, and the people of the greatest border city in the world, El Paso. Thank you for being here. Today is an opportunity to reflect on how far our city has come and to look ahead to where we are going, because El Paso is a city on the rise. A city built on hard work, strong families, and communities that believe in taking care of one another. And today, I am very proud to say that the state of the city of El Paso is strong. And before we look ahead, I want to give a special thank you to the people who lead our city. The members of the El Paso City Council, would you please stand? There we go, yes. Our city manager and our city attorney, Ms. Dion Mack and Ms. Carla Neiman, please stand. And I want to give a very, very special shout out to the thousands of city employees that serve our community every day. I also want to thank some of our partners who help move this community forward. Our county judge, Ricardo Samaniego, who has been an incredible partner since I took office. Congresswoman Veronica Escobar, Senator Blanco, and our state delegation, and the many partners across the community who continue to support the city of El Paso. We are able to move our city forward because of the strong partnerships we have built together. El Paso has always been defined by resilience. From our military families at Fort Bliss, to our small business owners, to our educators and first responders, this city runs on the dedication of its people. And what makes El Paso unique is something that the rest of the country is just now beginning to understand. We are not simply just a border city, we are a gateway city. We are a city that connects two nations, two cultures, and one shared future. More than $130 billion in international trade moves through our ports of entry each year. That means El Paso is not just participating in the global economy, we're helping drive it. But El Paso does not stand alone. We are part of a dynamic region that includes our neighbors in Ciudad Juarez and Las Cruces. I want to thank my friends, Mayor Cruz Perez Cuellar and Mayor Eric Enriquez, for their continued support and partnership. I would also like to recognize another special guest who is with us today, a mayor that came in all the way from Mesa, Arizona, Mayor John Giles, who's here in the audience as well. So, Mayor, thank you for taking the time to come here. Together, El Paso, Ciudad Juarez, and Las Cruces form one of the most important economic regions in North America. At this time, I would also like to ask all the mayors, any former mayors, and the county commissioners that are here present today to please stand. Because when our cities work together, our entire region benefits. And as many of you know, one of my 4 priorities is economic development. Today, El Paso is experiencing a new wave of momentum. We are seeing investments in advanced manufacturing, logistics, aerospace, technology, and entrepreneurship. Companies are choosing El Paso because of our workforce, our location, and our culture of collaboration. It's also very important that we build an economy where local entrepreneurs can thrive, because the future of El Paso is not just about attracting businesses, it's about growing our own. We are also investing in the infrastructure that supports our economy and our quality of life. Projects like the Downtown Deck Plaza will help reconnect neighborhoods and create new public spaces right in the heart of the city. Because great cities invest not only in roads and buildings, they invest in community. Public safety remains one of our highest priorities. El Paso continues to be recognized as one of the safest cities in America. That is a result of the hard work of our police officers, our firefighters, our emergency responders, our community partners, and our residents. We are investing in a new police and fire public safety complex, which is going to be located near the airport. This project will provide advanced training and resources to ensure our first responders are ready to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow. The future of El Paso will be determined by how well we invest in people, our students, our workforce, our families. Through partnerships with UTEP, EPCC, and our trade schools, and our local school districts, we are building the talent pipeline that will power our economy for decades. When the El Paso students succeed, we all succeed. And I am pleased to announce that for the first time ever, the city of El Paso was selected to participate in the Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Initiative. This program brings over 40 mayors and city leaders from around the world together to learn how to solve complex challenges and improve on how local government delivers results. For El Paso, that means learning from some of the best minds in the world and bringing those lessons home to build a stronger El Paso. There's something special about this city. El Paso is a place where we take care of one another, where neighbors help neighbors, where success is shared, and when one neighborhood rises, the whole city rises. But while we have accomplished so much, we know there's still more work ahead. The future of our city will not be built by any one person or any one office. It will be built by all of us working together, by our teachers, by our soldiers, by our nurses, our small business owners, and our parents, working every day to build a better future for their families. That is the El Paso way. And together we will continue building a city that is stronger, safe, and more united than ever. Because I can tell you this, the best days of El Paso are not behind us, they are still ahead of us. So I want to thank you all for coming out today to this event. It means so much to me. It means so much to the city. Again, they're still ahead of us. Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless the city of El Paso, Texas.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Mayor Johnson, would you take a seat, please? And if you would please, we're going to have a video for you at this moment. Thank you. A little bit of a glimpse of a great video of a great city that's thriving and just moving forward. So at this time, Mayor Johnson, thank you for sharing the vision of El Paso's future. Now I have the opportunity to explore these priorities in greater depth. Please help me welcome Emmy and Murrow Award-winning journalist Robert Holguin, who will lead the discussion with our mayor.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. So we got to get a sense of some of your vision for this city. And I think this is a good opportunity to hear a little bit more about what you envision and what you see down the road. But let's start looking back a little bit. You've been in office now more than a year.
Yeah.
A lot has happened.
A lot has happened.
Right, yeah. It's been a very busy news cycle,
Yeah.
to say the least. What have you learned most in your first year about being mayor, about city government? Just what has the learning curve been like?
Yeah, so it's been an incredible year for me this first year, and I think I've been in office 14 months now, but it's been such an incredible year, and I put in a lot of work. And what I'd like to show you guys is we actually put together a video that will kind of show you what we've been working on. So we have a video to show you that.
Great. Let's take a look.
The duties of the office
The duties of the office
of the City of El Paso Mayor.
of the City of El Paso Mayor.
Four, three,
2, I hope some of the goals are that we're in more alignment, not only with staff, but also that we're really listening to what the community wants. So I think we listen to what the community wants, look at the data, and that helps us execute better as an elected official and as a city department.
I'd like to say thank you so much to the mayor of El Paso, who gave us for the first time in our whole life keys to the city.
Yeah, so a lot comes to mind there. Thank God that the key was on the Jumbotron and not me.
I mean, that's a pretty cool shout out.
Yeah, that was,
there.
that was incredible. So as you can see, it was a very, very busy year. We had over 800 events and meetings throughout the year. But I was very deliberate in my first year. I wanted to make sure that I was out in the community, I was connecting with the people, because that's the only way you're really going to know what the community wants. So I was very, very deliberate in what we were doing for this first year, and we're going to continue to do that. But to tell you, we had over 800 events. We were working hard. So that was something that we were very deliberately focused on. And I can tell you, one of the other things I learned is, as most of you know, I come from private industry. I'm a CEO of my own company. And in your own companies, you can make things happen pretty quick.
Yeah.
When you get into municipal government, not so much. But it's not a bad thing. So I think it's good that we have the layers that we do now. I'm learning this as I'm into the city. I think it's good that we do have the layers, because you do need to listen to the public. You do need to work with your council members. And you do need to have a process in place that makes a decision. So it keeps from one person from just making that decision for everybody. So I'm glad that we had that in place. And the other thing I learned is, I've got to tell you, we've got over 6,000 employees here at the city. And they work hard. They work extremely hard. I get to work 6:45 to 7 in the morning. There's someone already there at the city working. I leave 7 or 8 o'clock at night. They're still there working. So there's a dedicated workforce here for the city of El Paso, and I couldn't be prouder to be a part of this organization.
Yeah, I've known you from your previous life in business as a private business person, so that must have been an adjustment, but I guess it comes down to just interfacing and listening.
It does, and that's the main thing is you've got to be able to listen in this role. Yeah. You got to be able to listen to what people want, and you got to have patience. You got to have patience. So, and I've learned that through this last 14 months of being in this office. Yeah.
Okay, well, you talked about public safety on the campaign trail, and you've talked about it a lot earlier today and in office. It's one of the priorities that you've emphasized since taking office. What changes are being implemented within public safety departments, specifically here, when it comes to community trust and making those departments more effective for the citizens of El Paso?
Yeah, so public safety is one of my number one priorities, as you just mentioned, Robert. And one of the things I needed to make sure is I had an understanding of what not only Chief Killings at El Paso Fire Department, but Chief Pasillas was doing at El Paso PD. So I had to build relationships there to get an understanding of what they're doing. And in fact, we have another video that we can show you here.
Yeah, let's take a look.
The top priority for the El Paso Police Department is the preservation of life through traffic enforcement and reduction of DWI offenses in the city of El Paso. Enough is enough was a priority that the mayor put on public safety to stop DWIs and fatalities on the street.
Public safety has always been a top priority of mine, and preventing drunk driving is a critical part of that work.
One of the positive results we had in 2025 is we have reduced fatalities in 3 years from 82 to 62 fatalities. Still way too many fatalities, and we're still committed to the Enough is Enough campaign. Real-time data helps the El Paso Police Department deploy its personnel throughout the city as it's related to crime trends and traffic trends.
The top priority for the El Paso Fire Department is making sure that we maintain workforce readiness. And we're going to do that through improving our infrastructure and focusing on the health and wellness of our staff. With the new renovations and new stations that we're seeing across the city, the community can expect quicker response times and more units out in the neighborhoods. For our firefighters, it's an improvement in the technology, in the safety, so that they are ready to respond. The key metric that we're keeping an eye on the most is going to be our response times and making sure that that is reliable and consistent. That is at the core of what the El Paso Fire Department is about, is being able to respond to the community in their time of need.
Yeah, so a lot there too, Robert.
Yeah. It's important to recognize the hard work that the police do out there. There's some of the toughest jobs that exist, to be sure. Drunk driving is a problem everywhere, but it's mentioned there as a top priority because it has risen to a level in El Paso where it required that campaign that you were talking about right there.
Yeah, and Robert, thank you for mentioning that. That is an area that I want to do more. If I could get every drunk driver off of the streets tomorrow or today, this afternoon, I would certainly do that. It is a monumental task. I've been on several ride-alongs with El Paso PD, and I've seen it firsthand how bad it is in our community. I can tell you the police department is committed to getting drunk drivers off the street. Our DWI task force, the sheriff's department, Sheriff Ugarte, our DA who's here, and our sheriff who's here, they're committed to getting DWI and drunk drivers off of our street. All of the accidents are 100% preventable. Yeah. Enough is enough, and we've got to do a better job, and I want to do a better job, and that's an area I'm going to continue to stay focused on. Some of the other news that we've done in the area of public safety is we've had 3 police academies graduate since I've been in office. An additional 109 officers that are now in the El Paso Police Department. We've had about 37 to 40 graduate from El Paso Fire. So we are filling the vacancies with new officers and new firemen and firewomen that are coming into the public safety realm. One of the things I'm really, really proud of is for the first time ever, El Paso received a grant called the COPS Grant, which was about $2.5 million, which we received 18 new officers that didn't cost the taxpayers 1 penny. $2.5 million from the federal government, 18 new officers, no taxpayer dollars. We had a SAFER grant for the El Paso Fire Department that had an additional 15 firefighters that they received through a grant too. So our men and women in uniform are working really, really hard to protect this community. And remember, we are still one of the safest communities in the United States, and we will continue to be. Your police chief, your fire chief, and all of our public safety officers, your sheriff, your DA, they are committed to keeping this community safe. I could not be prouder of them.
And public safety takes resources, it takes manpower, so that's why those academies that you mentioned are so important, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, in addition to that, we have a police and fire training headquarters that we're going to be breaking ground on soon. So it's going to be out near the airport. It's going to be on about 50 acres. It's going to have a new fire tower. It's going to have a new driving range. It's going to be state-of-the-art for the city of El Paso. There will be other agencies coming here to El Paso to train at our facility. So that will give us the state-of-the-art facility for this community that we deserve. But again, I want to emphasize, your men and women in uniform are doing one heck of a job. The chief, you could pick up the phone, call them, both chiefs, and they will do whatever it takes. But we are going to do a much better job at DWI. That's my commitment.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely something that we should emphasize. All right, we're moving on here. Another question. We're going to transition a little bit to the economy, but we're going to begin by talking about the importance of Fort Bliss. Now, a lot of people might not realize it employs 41,000 employees. It's a huge part of the economic engine in El Paso. Can you talk about the partnership that you've built with Major General Taylor and why that is so important when it comes to your role?
Yeah, so as we know here in El Paso, Fort Bliss is part of our community. We're part of their community. And it has been critical that we establish a relationship with Fort Bliss. And I also actually have a video here that I'd love to play for you.
Hey, thank you for asking me to be a part of this. And in particular, I want to thank Mayor Johnson for everything he's done to include us in this great partnership. There's a saying here that El Paso is Fort Bliss and Fort Bliss is El Paso, and that has been completely true this year. I want to thank you all for what this community did throughout 2025, as many of our soldiers, myself included, were deployed across Eastern Europe, and as we had many things going on here at Fort Bliss, you stood by us, you took care of our families, you took care of our soldiers. When we had to furlough many of our civilian employees in October, it was the businesses in this community, many of you represented in this event today, who reached out and helped with short-term needs for our DA civilians while they waited on their pay to come through. That is just a testimony to the great relationship that we have. Thank you for everything you've done. We hope we can continue that partnership next year. We look for a lot of great continued growth in our relationship in 2026 as we celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country and we continue to grow together as a community.
Yeah.
He talked about the community coming together during the furloughs. That's something that is a perfect example of the civilian and the military community there working together with the community, right?
Yeah, so, and Robert, you touched on it. You know, Fort Bliss has 35 to 40,000 active duty military personnel with their families. But what most people don't know in El Paso is 70% of that number lives in the El Paso community. 70% of that number live in our community. They go to our schools, they eat at our stores, they eat at our restaurants. They are part of the El Paso fabric. It is so important to have a relationship with your military installation like we do now. When we had two major events that happened since we've had a number of major events happen since I've been mayor, but two that are coming to mind right now. One of them was, we had the closure of our airport. So thank God there's no drones flying around in here. But we had the closure of our airport. I've got to tell you, that night when they woke me up I've been going to sleep early, which is crazy. I'm going to bed like an old person. I go to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. But I went to sleep early. My phone rang. There was 4 or 5 people that called me. One of them was the city manager. One of them was my chief of staff. The other one was our congresswoman. And the other one was Major General Taylor. And we were trying to figure out at that moment why the airspace was shut down.
Yeah, it's a big mystery.
It was a mystery, still is mystery, by the way.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, that communication he felt comfortable enough to call me at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And he calls me and he says, Mayor, you know that this is the problem and this is what we're working on to get the airspace open. So to have that dialogue is very important between the city and the military. The other thing that was a huge lift that the general did for this community, we had the unfortunate water break in Northeast El Paso. I knew that, you know, I serve on the PSB board, and we were doing everything we could to make sure we had water in the neighborhood for people to get fresh drinking water. But I also knew that we had a huge asset with Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss has some of the largest water buffaloes, or water hippos, in the nation. They have 4,000-gallon tankers that they can bring in. My first call was to the general. I said, General, we need some help. He says, well, what do you need, sir? I said, we need water. He says, where do you need it? I said, we need it at our schools. We need it in Northeast. He did not blink an eye. He delivered the water to Northeast El Paso. Do you know how hard it is to get the military to do anything?
It's a big bureaucracy, right?
It is.
Yeah.
But that general and this relationship that we built, he helped this community. So when you see the soldiers, when you see the men and women in uniform, when you see their spouses, when you see their kids, thank them. They go through a lot. They go through. I am so proud of our military men and women. And I'm super proud, yes. And I'm very proud of the relationship that I have with that Major General. And it's my understanding, though, he's going to be leaving in August. So we're going to miss him. And we'll continue our relationships with Fort Bliss. But Fort Bliss is El Paso, and El Paso is Fort Bliss.
Good to remember. Absolutely. Mayor, let's talk about quality of life. We're trying to keep the program moving here, so I'm trying to basically get through as many questions as I can, so bear with me here. Quality of life, it's not just about services that a city provides. It's how people experience that city, right? So it can come down to parks, trails, the art scene, downtown revitalization, all these things that people are thinking of how can I improve my life here in this city, enjoy the city more. What is the city doing to make sure that that's happening, and to also make El Paso a destination, a true destination city?
Yeah, this is an area, you know, that we've got a lot of work to do still. But quality of life is something that we have a major focus on, and we've also put together a video we can show you here too.
Let's roll tape.
The City of El Paso putting this together. This is really great. This is a good event. And, more events like this, the better. It's great.
Great to see all those things. And the holiday events downtown, what a runaway success that's been, right? That's been nationally ranked, among all the other things that you showed.
Yeah, so I'm glad you touched on that. So Winterfest, over 600,000 people in downtown El Paso over a 6-week period. Yeah, absolutely. Ranked number 1 in Newsweek, ranked number 2 in USA Today as best holiday events right here in the city of El Paso, Texas. So that is part of the quality of life. I can tell you the city has also made a real big effort in investing in our parks, our bike trails, our biking trails. So we're going to continue to make more investments into the El Paso community for quality of life. The other thing we have to get right, and we'll put it out there, we have to fix these potholes. We have to fix these streets. So that, I'm going to hear
Round of
some
applause
we
for the
clap
pothole.
on that one, yes. So we got to figure out how to get that done. So we will continue to do that. One of the other biggest things that I hear from this community is, you know, Mayor, I have to take my kids out of town for sporting events. Why don't we have here in this community, and those are the kids that can afford to go out of town. What about the kids that can't afford to go out of town? We need an indoor-outdoor sporting event right here in El Paso to keep our kids home. I can tell you that we have the next Messi here, we have the next Michael Jordan right here in El Paso. But if we don't give them the tools and assets they need, then we're wasting a lot of time. Our kids should not have to leave this beautiful community to go to Phoenix or go to Austin or anywhere else to play in sporting events. So we've got to do better. And when it comes to quality of life, that's one of the areas I think we need to start focusing on. Because again, we have that next athlete right here in El Paso.
I mean, it's a big deal, right? I mean, parents have to spend a lot of money to go to those kinds of tournaments and things like that.
Yeah,
we're talking
and
about.
imagine, like I said, the ones that don't have the money.
That's right. They don't have
so
the
we got to
opportunity.
give those facilities here to those kids too.
Okay, we're talking about money. That's a good transition here to talk about the economy. Obviously, there's an affordability crisis in this country. El Paso, no exception to that. People are worried about their bottom line and taxes and utility rates. These are all things that I'm sure you have to manage. There's a balancing act that has to happen when we're talking about providing all these services. How do you make sure that El Paso's economic growth is actually improving everyday people's lives here for families across the city?
That's the $1 million question, Robert. And affordability is tough right now. Like you said, you know, prices are rising, grocery prices are rising, your gas prices are rising, your utility prices.
$1 in the last month.
Yeah, we can go on and on. I mean, I filled up my car the other day and it was painful, you know, and everyone's feeling that crunch too. But what I can tell you is El Paso's economy is strong. You know, we don't see the big dips up and down like other major cities do. So El Paso's county is strong. And I actually have on the next slide, I can show you that one of the things that happened here is in December, we had the record number of sales tax that we've ever collected in the city of $16.6 million. That was sales tax revenue. We collected it in February, but it was for the month of December. That right there, you guys, is how we start lowering your property taxes. You start increasing sales tax, your property taxes will start coming down. So we got to really keep bringing that number up. The number below it, the $51.9 million, that is a number from December through September. And that number of $51.9 million, we were projecting a 3% increase, but we ended up with an 8% increase. So our sales tax revenue is doing really, really well. We are number 3 in the U.S. for our foreign trade zone, which is located out near the airport, which has thousands of jobs and has a major impact to this community of $7.6 billion. Can I see the next slide, please? We are at our advanced manufacturing district, which is also located at the airport. We are looking to recruit aerospace and defense companies to go into this new, this is going to be a 50,000 square foot facility that's going to be located right at the airport, right on the airport grounds. There's the convention center expansion that we are also looking at. The next one I'll spend a little bit of time on is the Ysleta Bridge expansion. So the city of El Paso has 3 bridges. We have the Ysleta, the Paso del Norte Bridge, and the Stanton Bridge. Those are our bridges. But in order to prepare for commercial traffic possibly being closed at the Boda Bridge, we need to make sure that the city bridges are capable of handling any traffic that comes to our bridge. So the Ysleta Bridge is one that we're looking at for expansion. We just finished awarding a feasibility study to look at the expansion of our Ysleta Bridge. So a lot is happening in the El Paso community, especially in the area of economic development.
Fantastic. Let's move on here. We're coming to the end of our program here. So a couple of questions when it comes to identity And we'll begin with the city's identity, which is that of a deeply binational city with very strong ties to Ciudad Juarez, and regional partners too. So how are you strengthening those cross-border and regional relationships to create opportunities for the entire region, which is really 3 states, right, and 2 nations?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, you got to invest the time. You got to put in the time to develop in these relationships. And I formed a very, very good relationships with my amigo in Juarez, Mexico, and my friend there in Las Cruces, and all of the rural mayors that you saw stand earlier, and our county commissioners and everyone that's here. So it's about investing the time. And I believe some of the mayors had a message for us here. So if we could see that.
Let's have a listen.
Greetings, Mayor Renard Johnson, and greetings to the city of El Paso. My name's Eric Enriquez. I'm the mayor of the city of Las Cruces, and it's truly an honor to speak at the State of Your City address. It's been a pleasure working with Mayor Renard Johnson. As a native of Las Cruces, I have seen how Las Cruces and El Paso have gotten closer over the years to face the challenges and to seek the opportunities that will benefit both our cities, our community, and our region. I really look forward to continuing to work with Mayor Renard Johnson and El Paso. Thank you very much.
Amigas, amigos, soy Cruz Pérez Cuellar, alcalde de Juárez, y me da mucho gusto compartir con ustedes este mensaje. Estimado Renard Johnson, alcalde de nuestra ciudad hermana del Paso, Texas, Mayor del Paso, es de suma importancia para mi gobierno destacar la colaboración que hemos construido con tu administración. Temas sensibles para ambas ciudades como son la movilidad, la infraestructura transfronteriza, la calidad del aire, la promoción de nuestras fortalezas para el desarrollo económico y los temas que son de interés para la ciudadanía que representamos, hablan por sí solos del proyecto de región como una oferta única para el fortalecimiento de nuestras naciones. Estamos trabajando hacia el mismo objetivo, de mejorar esta región, y lo fundamental que es contar con una alianza sólida entre ambos para impulsar hacia adelante a El Paso y a Ciudad Juárez. Felicidades, amigo Renard, por tu segundo informe.
Strong partnerships there. What are the challenges in making sure that those partnerships stay intact and that you continue to move them forward?
Yeah, it's finding the time to make sure that we can get together. I can tell you one of the things that Mayor Cruz Perez Cuellar told me when I first came into office is that he was going to be very intentional about making sure that he was present in our community, and he has done that. He has been in El Paso more than anything. We find time to have dinners. We find time to have lunch together. The same with Mayor Enriquez in Las Cruces. I was there not too long ago. We had lunch together, and he's always in El Paso. So we do that so we can improve the region. If your mayors are not talking, if your city municipalities and your governments aren't talking, that's only going to hurt the region and hurt the community. So we have been very intentional about talking about infrastructure. We've been very intentional about talking about climate, air quality, the things that we can improve this entire region. And we are one region. Me and the mayor of Las Cruces are working on something that hopefully we can bring soon, would be talking about some airport opportunities. So there's a lot of communication that goes on, but you have to do it on a constant basis. And these two mayors and all of the other mayors that are here and present today, we have not only been just mayors in public office, but we are friends. These guys will call me. The mayor will text me on Christmases. So it has been truly a great relationship with my friends across the border and the ones in New Mexico.
Fantastic. Okay, we've arrived at the future here. We're going to be looking to the future. And what strategic plans are in place for 2026 and beyond? And where do you see opportunities for El Paso to improve as a city, as we're looking down the road now?
Wow, that's a great question. So I think the first thing that's going to come to mind is we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with the Deck Plaza. Once in a lifetime. Many of us in this room may not ever see it happen, but we have to give it a chance, okay? We have to give that a chance. And right now, they're talking about widening I-10, and we're talking about putting in the support beams to hold a deck plaza in the future. So we're talking about future-proofing it. I think we would be doing a disservice to the community that if we don't at least position this community for that opportunity out in the future. We'll be doing a disservice to our kids. If you look at Winterfest, the one I spoke about earlier, 600,000 people in San Jacinto Plaza, 600,000 coming over 6 weeks. Some of the people in this room's backyards are bigger than the green space at San Jacinto Plaza. We can do better than that. We can do much better than that, and we should do better than that. So we've got to move this community forward. The other thing I want to touch on is the convention center. We talked about the convention center expansion. We have lost $70 million because our convention center is not capable of holding the size of conventions that it should. Whether we like it or not, we're in competition against Austin, Dallas, Houston, Waco, and I can name a few more that already have their convention spaces under construction. So we have to step up to the plate. I think expanding our convention center will be good. We want more conventions here. We talked about lowering your property tax through sales tax, more conventions. I think many of us in this room enjoyed going to Coldplay. That increased our sales tax. There's 2 more big concerts coming. There's BTS, there's Post Malone and Jelly Roll coming. And I'm not going to be a spoiler alert, but I think there's another big announcement coming here in the next couple weeks. So all of that drives sales tax and revenue for the city. I know, and I know this for a fact, that the best days for El Paso are still ahead of us. No one can do it by themselves. It's going to take each and every one of us in this room to move El Paso forward. But we cannot live in today. We have to look into the future. Just because it was good for me or you today and we don't want someone else to have it in the future, you got to get out of your way sometimes. You have to get out of your way. We don't all like the same music. We don't all like the same food, and that's okay. We're not all the same religious beliefs. But we do have kids. We have kids here. We have the next Messi here. We have the next Michael Jordan. Why are we holding that back? Why not El Paso? I've said that before. We've got so much work to do. Working with the other mayors, working with the other community, working as a region, we can be, and we are, the best border city in the United States, hands down.
And circling back, allow me, if you will, indulge me, circling back to the Deck Plaza, for example, critics will say El Paso can't afford it. What you're saying is this is an opportunity because it doesn't come along all that often, these generational opportunities, and you're saying at least give it a chance to explore.
Robert, you're spot on. You'll never see this again. Yeah. If we don't do this now, it's gone. It's gone.
Because of what's happening with the tent.
Absolutely. So that's why I lean into that to say, you may not agree with it. And again, we do not want this on 100% on the back of the taxpayers. We are looking for federal funding. We are looking for additional funding to make this a reality. But why are we going to deprive this community of having something that every other community has? The Clyde Warren Deck Plaza in Dallas, the #1 tourist destination in the city of Dallas. We can do better than putting 60,000 people or 600,000 people in downtown El Paso with the green space as small as this stage. We're better than that. We can do better. And that's the opportunity I see for this community. And that Deck Plaza, we've only begun. The clubhouses, the field houses, the bike trails, the music that will go on. We've got to get there, but we've got to give ourselves the opportunity.
Okay. Thank you for that. Last question here. You know, I had
a video for this.
Oh, yeah. Do we have? Okay, let's take a look.
Yeah, I forgot my video.
Yeah.
So
don't forget the video.
I was so excited about that. There's a video. Let's see. that was the video we were supposed to play.
We probably should have seen it first.
Yeah.
But
I'm still excited about everything in there.
animations look great, yeah. A lot of possibility in that video for sure. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the city's identity. We're going to transition here to personal identity for the final question of this afternoon here. Can you reflect a little bit, Renard, on just being El Paso's first black mayor and what that means to you, how you've processed it, and just reflect on the experience?
Yeah, that's huge. And when we were running the campaign, you know, we weren't running it on a black or white issue. We were running based upon my leadership skills, what I've done in the community, and my business acumen and all of that. And then I happen to be black. It doesn't go unnoticed to me that I am black and I'm an African American. But I think it speaks more volumes about El Paso to elect the first black mayor in El Paso's history ever. That speaks to this community more than anything. So it is truly an honor. I am humbled. You know, the other day someone told me, hey, Mayor, do you know you're the first black mayor along any major U.S.-Mexico border in the history of the United States? I never sat there to really think about anything like that. I wasn't running for the history part of it. I was running for the love of community, for the love of the people of El Paso, for my family, for wanting to leave a much better place than what I found it. So it's big. I mean, it is big, but I think it's even bigger for this community to have elected the first black mayor. And I'm very humbled and lots of gratitude for everything that everyone did in El Paso for me.
Well, I have a lot of gratitude. I have a lot of gratitude for you for answering these questions. I have a lot of gratitude for the Chamber for having me. Thank you all so much. I'm Robert Holguin one more time. You can watch me at 5 o'clock tonight, 9 o'clock too on KFOX 14. It's up to you. I'll leave that up to you. But thanks again for having me.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you emceeing. My name is Sean Ollis. I'm let me get the quote right. I am a kid from the greatest border city in the world, market president for Newsroom Credit Union, and the chair of the board for the El Paso Chamber. After hearing from the mayor today, I think we can all agree that this is a moment of reflection on where we are, recognize the challenges ahead, and align on the opportunities that will drive El Paso forward. As a token of our appreciation for your dedication to our city, we'd like to recognize your commitment in a very El Paso way. So tonight, the star on the mountain will shine in red, white, and blue in honor of the city of El Paso. Mayor Johnson, we'd also like to present you with a framed photo of the star on the mountain. Thank you for your leadership and all you do for El Paso. Please help me give Mayor Johnson another round of applause. Thank you to all of our sponsors, the incredible team at the El Paso Convention Center, the El Paso Chamber staff. One more hand of applause for the Chamber staff. And most importantly, to all of you for being here at a record-breaking State of the City. This is the largest one we've ever held. As Ricardo mentioned earlier today, we are moving forward with a legislative delegation fly-in this fall. If you'd like to support that very important initiative or learn more about it, please connect with a member of the Chamber team. I'd also like to personally invite you out to our next signature events. The annual town hall, write these dates down, will be on June 3rd, followed by the State of the Military on July 23rd. Everyone, please drive safely. We look forward to seeing you at our next Chamber event. Thank you.